Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. So today we're actually going to be doing something that's a little different. We're going to be doing some character design. Now, this is actually going to be used for a project for somebody that I'm assuming ideally they're going to want to turn into a comic book, and I'm going to include a link to their Facebook and their Twitter at the bottom in case you want to check them out and follow the book if you kind of like where the character designs are going and all that cool stuff. But so yeah, before I get into exactly what we're going to be doing, I just want to run you through what I usually do when I start designing characters. Sometimes it's as easy as just literally grabbing your sketchbook and a pencil or a pen and just drawing something cool, and maybe you refine it a little bit, and then that's basically it. However, sometimes, like with clients, or if I need a little bit more thought process into it, what I do is I have something similar to this setup. This character's body here, I have a file on my computer that every now and then I might go in and add something. Usually I don't. I took about a week to do this. Basically, you see this character here. He's like a default custom superhero male character. I do have other versions where it's like a skinnier guy, a taller guy, a fatter guy, the Hulk, you know? And that's about it. And then I do the exact same thing for a female version. Now, the reason I do this is that way I don't have to continually draw a character all the time. When we're thinking of character design, you just want something like... How do I word this? When we're basically designing a costume and a look for the character. So the body, it does matter, it is important. However, at this stage, since we're just designing a costume, we're not necessarily designing or thinking about overall design in a silhouette style image. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I think one of the very first videos I ever did on this YouTube channel, if you go all the way back there, it was like this little slug guy. And I show you exactly what I'm talking about, where you work from a silhouette and then turn a cool silhouette into a character. So here what I'm doing is I'm going to be designing 5 examples based on what the client wants for their character, and then they can choose which one they like, bits and pieces from each, from maybe the first guy right here on the left, and maybe they want like the boots on the guy on the right. And then what the next stage that I would do is like a final clean artwork or clean line work with a turnaround, so you see the back and all that cool stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing. And then what I'll normally do is I load in the character like this, paste them up like about 5 times. It's the exact same character. That way, once you see what we're going to do here, where we're just basically designing a costume, it's so easy to just go in there and just, let your mind do what it's got to do. But, however, before you can actually get into that, you got to have everything you need. So let me just open up this quick Word document here. So what I do here is, again, the client sent me something like this, where it has a description of the character. Now, what I'll do is I'll go over the important areas and highlight it in red, maybe bold or underline it, just so that I know those are really the most important parts of the character here. So I'll just read it real quick to you. Character's name is Cam, an 18-year-old who looks more like his mid-20s. Cam's gift, although he appears human, is that his bones and body are 10 times stronger than that of a normal human, and he has whitish pearl horns, hence the ram in Ram Nation. The ram traits are inspired by to mimic that of a doll sheep male or ram. These rams are said to be heroic and occasionally fight back on predatory wolves by using their thicker than normal skulls to ram them off the cliffs. Visually, he looks well put together and built with a squarish jaw. As far as size, think Luther Strode, if you're familiar, about 3/4 of the way he gets before he gets super beefy. He's Caucasian with jet black hair. His hair should be straight and shaggy, but not super long. Also with sideburns down about halfway. Think like Wolverine. As far as clothes, probably something easy like jeans and a hoodie with a white t-shirt underneath, unless I can think of something better. And another thing here is he has red brass knuckles. So really quickly, just to point out, the important things is he's 18, but he looks older. Normal, but he's going to have horns, I guess. So that's going to be kind of a cool character design. We're going to have to try to make that work based on that style of sheep. Thicker than normal skulls, that's going to be a little harder to actually show. There are little ways you can make like their forehead pop a bit to make them look a little bit more solid, more like a brick. Well together, okay, we already got that kind of thing. He's a white guy with black hair. We got the kind of hair that he needs and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to move that over onto my second monitor here so I can continually read that as we're drawing the character up here. And the next step that I like to do anyway, and I would highly recommend this step here for you guys and girls out there as well. Do a quick Google search or whatever your image, search finding tool of choice is, and definitely go into there for a little bit. Now, I have it right under here in a reference, so I'm just going to open that up real quick. Let me just zoom in here. So what I did is I just quickly went around and got some images of things that I'm probably going to need, so I don't have to look at Google or anything like that while I'm drawing. So right away I got some of these, that style of sheep that I'm talking about. I had to choose one on the left here because that troll face was just too funny. But as you can see, these horns look real cool. and they're pretty much like, I'd say, like, you know, your classic demon kind of horn, whatever. But then, like, when I thought of a hoodie, I thought of like a default, you know, just a hoodie. But then I just started noticing cool things, like maybe this jacket. Working on making layers for your character is really going to help sell it too. And by layers, I mean, like, look at this here. This is really slick. I don't know if I would have the suit and tie style thing underneath the hoodie. However, you get the belt with the shirt kind of popping underneath. And, you know, I got some ideas already just looking at this kind of stuff of a character design that we can use. So now that I have everything done, essentially all I'm going to do here is I have my line art good to go. And I just grab a brush. The pressure sensitivity, I think, if you can see, it's just going to be like the size, and the harder you press, it gets thicker as well as darker. I'm not using a black. I'm just going to use a gray. That way that it doesn't totally overlap all the lines. Now, really quickly, what I like to do is just go in there and start to think really quickly of just the design elements that we're going to be using. So, let me look off screen here. I'm just trying to get some ideas for those hoodies again. Because he is wearing clothes. We've already got the anatomy basically down. So I'm just going to start with maybe one of those ones that I had already seen where it's, you know, it's kind of like a jacket. Okay, we're just sketching over top of it, but he's got this really cool hoodie that maybe comes over like this. Now this style hoodie maybe looks a little bit more like if the guy was like a monk or something like that, but you know, it could sell. Another reason that's really cool about working like this as well is I can copy any element here and paste it onto the next one, and it'll still look like it'll work. One thing I definitely wanted to try doing was maybe giving the shirt or something like short sleeves. That way you can still see some like huge beefy forearms on them. You know, kind of gesture in some fold and some wrinkles. And now we're going to be worrying about layers. And I know he said he was thinking like a white shirt, so we're just going to give him like a regular white shirt here. Again, to show more muscle that he is a bigger character. So we're going to have all that there. He does have longer, shaggy hair with some sideburns and stuff. It's going to be a little bit different to do here. Again, all I'm doing with this is to sell the idea here. I'm not looking for like really awesome, tight line work. Maybe we'll get some design elements here. We'll just throw in some like lines. I did like the look of that one that had like this big belt buckle. Now, as you can see right away, what's happening is like I'm taking some liberties on the anatomy here. Let's bring this up a little bit because we don't want the jacket looking like it's, or the belt like it's all the way down on his crotch here. Jeans are always really cool. We're gonna give him like the tight jeans. They're gonna wrap around the knee like that. So he's gonna have some really cool shoes and stuff. And then the brass knuckles. I'm just gonna insinuate that they're there. No real reason to get into it too much. Next, just make your brush a little bit bigger. Kind of start painting it in. 1 second here. Cat's playing around the computer. Last time she did that, she stepped on the power button. We don't want that. Okay, so getting back in there. Just quickly shade it up, just so I can see where the colors are stacking and stuff. So now we can kind of go in there and use a black and just start putting in some details over this here. Just going to get a smaller brush. Get some folds going in there in the clothes. Longer hair like you were saying, but again, don't want it looking too shaggy. And the sideburns are going to be a little bit harder to see on this, but that's fine. Give him that white shirt. And this is just black and white. We're not worrying about color. Color would be a whole nother thing. And again, okay, so we're going to want some layers. We don't want just like regular pants, you know, like with some pockets and stuff. What if we, you know, just try to think, just think a little bit. What else could you have over something? Like maybe he's got one of those extra belt things that go around like this, like a suspenders kind of thing. Does it have a practical application? Not really, but maybe it helps break up the design a little bit, make it look a little cooler. So right away, if that's the way we're going, we've already got a lot of these round shapes going on, which is kind of cool. It gives like him a little bit of a softer look until you get to the muscles, and then the muscles, those are going to be pretty sharp. Maybe we can add like some more design elements onto the actual hoodie here. It's starting to look a little bit like armor, which you know, I don't think I want to get too much into. Maybe his jeans are just a little ripped up here. Another thing to be thinking about too, that usually helps, is you want to be in and out of this as quick as you can, especially, or I find, especially with these quick designs, because you can hammer out a lot of these in very little time, and the longer you spend on them, the more you're going to want to get in there and actually start rendering things out and adding proper shading and lighting and stuff like that, which is not what you want. You just want it to be quick, loose, get that energy in there, get like a design out of there. So if you were basically to zoom out like this, you know, like you want this one on the left to stand out from the second one, but you might want it looking similar to another one. Really quickly, what I can show you here is, let's say I really love the way, I don't know, his pants look. So you can just grab your lasso tool, since it's on a separate layer, and literally just copy paste, and just grab there, and then you can move it right onto the next design, you know, just like that. So what that allows you to do is, if you really like something, or down the road, like you could do this a bunch of times, and you could actually go in there and, you know, do hairstyles up the yin yang. You could spend a lot of time doing this stuff, really refining a design that you like. Stuff like that. Not really sure exactly what's going on here. I might just leave it because I feel like I'm nitpicking here. He didn't really talk about tattoos, so I'm not going to add anything like that. But yeah, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to stop the video, and then I'm going to resume the video once I finish all the designs, and then I'm going to show you the next step, where all I'm going to do is basically just lower the, not the opacity, but the brightness on it. Just lower it a little bit, and then we're going to grab a white and start adding in just a little bit of extra details, just to get that little extra in there that will help, you know, not just sell your idea, but help separate them from the other ones. Okay, so just stay in there, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we finished all 5 of the designs. Let me just zoom out here so you can see. From a distance, they all look similar, but different, right? And that's kind of the idea that I was going for here, obviously, to give the client or yourself more choices. So let's just zoom in here just so we can see a little bit more of each one. So this was the first design that we came up with. I don't know if I really feel it, to be honest, but there are certain things that are different than the other ones that, you know, you might like back and forth. The second one here's got more of a puffy, kind of like a jacket kind of hoodie. The third one, he's getting a little bit more open here. I started to feel more like I guess like a biker guy, if that makes any sense. Give him a little glove just to make the hand separate. Then I started including things like a necklace, and I put little horns in the necklace. That might help, you know, just give it some more character. Again, worrying about like layers and things that make things interesting. This design I kind of like, even though to me he kind of resembles like a old school heavy metal band lead singer or something like that, and the hair might be a little bit too crazy there. And then this design here, I just decided to do my own sort of thing based kind of loosely on what we've done so far, and kind of like some of the ideas that, you know, maybe just a little bit different than what the client was asking for. And so basically just a t-shirt, kind of like a biker t-shirt in a way. It's got some layers over here on the left and the right. Got your normal jeans, give him a tattoo on his arm, small horns and some necklaces. So when I send this off to the client, hopefully there's something here he likes. One of the characters might jump out at him right away, or ideally what most clients usually do, and you might find yourself doing it, is you put this away for a day or two, you come back and you look at it with fresh eyes again, and you might go, you know what, this right here, those horns I love, and I love all of this. So what he would say is, you know, like, give me the horns or the head of the first character and stuff like that. But before we send that off, what we're going to do is just pick a lighter color here, and we're just going to add a little bit of, not necessarily highlights, but with using like lighter colors, we can help pull some shapes here just to make things a little bit more clear, you know. Ideally, you want to give yourself and your clients or whoever you're working with a pretty good idea of what they're going to get. You know, you don't want to leave them up, give them too much guesswork, and then all of a sudden, what will end up happening is once you give it to them, once you send them, just say they wanted this one, and then I start drawing it because of all the details that I saw myself in there. They might go, whoa, 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 that doesn't even look anything close to what you had sent me before. And you want to get away from that as much as possible. You're just adding way too much work on for yourself. And, you know, you don't want to be doing that. I don't want to say you want to get in and out on this on your project for people. However, the more you linger on certain things, usually has a tendency to get worse. Usually has a tendency to work. So, like, for example, here on the belt, I'm just going to add some, like, highlights and stuff to make it look like it's got some detail on it. What is the detail? I don't know. I won't know until I actually go in there to do the final image. But hopefully the client can see that, and maybe their own imagination kind of kicks in and go, yeah, okay, there's some detail going on there, you know? I'm just breaking up the jeans here a little bit. So I'm just going to zoom out. Maybe, well, actually, we'll add a little bit of highlights here on the face. Nothing special, just to help the rest of it. So when you zoom out here, he's starting to look a little bit better, right? So if I turn that off, you know, it's all there, everything's the same, and all I'm doing is just adding highlights like that on certain things to make it, give it a little bit more volume, a little bit more shape. And I'm going to continue to do that with the rest of them. And actually here, I feel like I'm not showing you guys enough drawing here, so we'll just stick with this one here. And then once I'm done this one here, what I'll do is just pause the video again, and then we can jump back, and you can see what it looks like when it's all finished. All in all, this has probably taken about, at this point, 2 hours. I'm a little rusty doing like this kind of painterly stuff. But I did want to say as well, doing this kind of stuff here for your concept work and your concept development, even for your own work, it's pretty important because it gets you away from thinking like, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever felt like this, I know I feel it all the time, but it's when you're working with a pencil, let's say you're designing a character, okay, and you've got a pen or a pencil, and as you're designing the character, it's like you don't get some really cool shapes. You're like, it feels a little bit like you're regimented in a way where it's, what you're stuck doing is, you know, drawing the figure first and then adding clothes over top of it, and it feels very, you know, it's hard to get some really cool ideas that way. There's a reason why superheroes always look muscular, and they always have like a certain design to them, and I would guess that's because they're, whoever's designing these characters, and I've done it myself too, is you start with a body shape, right? And then as you move out from that, all you're doing is basically putting lines on the anatomy. And what that does is that makes your superheroes basically have spandex all the time, right? And if that's what you're going for, knock it out, you know, go ahead. But if you're designing something like, let's say if I asked you to design a crab unicorn, tomato slinging, nasty rock creature, how the hell would you start that, right? Like, would you go in there and you'd start going, this like little circles, okay, there's the back, there's the front, who knows, right? If you go back to look at those videos I was talking about before, and I highly recommend looking up some YouTube videos of people already addressing this, where it's like you'll work basically with just shapes. And from those shapes, you start to basically work in like thick blacks and grays, and then you'll get your tight line work over top of that. And maybe we should go over that a couple times here, because the one project that I will be working on, Squirrel God, there's a couple designs that I have to get in there, and I have to do something like that. There's some like gnarly earth creatures that kind of come out in that story, and I'm going to have to do that anyway. So let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in that. Anyway, so I'll just zoom out. So as you can see right away, hopefully you can see a little bit of a difference there. You know, like this character right here, he's kind of flat, not flat, but everything's there. Nothing's missing. But just by adding a little bit of highlights to it, all of a sudden, like especially the horns, it gives it a little bit more volume. It makes it pop a little bit better. The pouch on his hoodie there was gone. And by adding a little bit of highlight, it just makes it pop a little bit more. And you can get some highlights and stuff like that going on. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it so far. Just give me one more second, and when you guys will see it, all of them will be finished here. Okay, so as you can see, we're all finished up here. The last thing I did was just grab red and wrote A, B, C, D, E, F, or E. I'm just making up the alphabet as we go here. So yeah, so this is it. So this will be sent off to the clients or to yourself if this is for you. And all in all, like I said, this took about 2 hours. You could actually narrow this down by just doing much simpler designs and then finding the silhouettes and the shapes that you like and then doing what I just did with all this stuff. But hopefully this showed you just a different way that you can maybe come up with characters and designs for future projects that you might have. And maybe even comic projects that you have that you're coming up with. Maybe you're thinking of like a character design, but you're not quite sure. Like maybe you want to design like a octopus character. instead of just drawing the character and then adding things like that, you could do something similar to this where, let me just turn all this off, where you saw it. We started with the character over there and then bang, just added like some shapes with a really thick brush to basically get rid of your detail. And then as you go in there, you can start adding a little bit of shading. Let me just see which layer we got on there. A little bit of shading, highlight a little bit, and then bang, add those little final highlights, and then you know yourself which one sticks out. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, keep reading comics, keep making comics. We'll talk to you soon.